All right, let's talk just for a moment about Webquests, because for many people this is kind of an odd idea. Some of you have done Webquests before and it's never been introduced to you that way. A Webquest is simply a way of organizing instruction and activity for delivery on the web. Now that doesn't mean that you're only going to get this information on the web. You're going to navigate to a site and work through it, although that could be it. You could just receive a piece of paper from your teacher, like Sam is now, and complete this, please. It's a Webquest. What makes it unique, excuse me, is the organization of the information. Rather than saying search the whole web for the answers, search these specific links for the answers. Instead of saying look for these very broad topics, look for these specific things. It continues to focus what your students are doing in on one thing. What makes it great is that, of course, you're giving them direct paths to the information. We used to do this thing in the 80s. It wasn't called a Webquest. It was just called a library hunt, right? Or a resource hunt. And you'd walk over to the big file cabinets. You pull out that tiny little drawer. Some of you don't even remember this. Some of us do. You'd thumb through it. I mean, seriously, the drawers were 8 feet long. These tiny little index cards, and we'd see a little name and a number. We'd go, oh, okay, I want to check out that book. You'd write down the Dewey Decimal number on a little piece of scratch paper with the tiny little golf pencil. You'd shove that drawer, and you'd go walking, right? If you were really cool, you were in a class where the teacher gave you those numbers. If you're going to look up Abe Lincoln, here's the name of the book, here's the Dewey Decimal number, here's the page number. Now go find an answer to this question. We'd hunt around. It was a lot of fun. Well, Bernie Dodge created a different way to do this, and it's called a Webquest. So, as a, you like that? It's just up there on my screen. Our travel costs are still up there. Bernie Dodge created a way that we can do this and basically organize this into a simple thing. This week, the two things that you're going to do, which should take you less than an hour, max of an hour and a half, are to review some other people's Webquests, point out things that you like or dislike about them. You're going to create a sheet. But guess what? It's a Webquest about Webquests, meaning I have for you the links that I want you to go look at and the organization that I want you to put it in. Then, having experienced some Webquests, I want you to write a simple Webquest. Don't get heady. I want you to solve the riddle of where, the Ark of the Covenant is now laying. People have been, the Holy Grail, where is it now? Webquest. That's a lot of stuff. And the correct answer is yes, it's buried under the blue turf. So, but no, we're talking about something simple. The temperature of the sun, the distance to the moon, the number of petals on average in a sunflower, whatever it's important for you in your class. The average, or excuse me, the world record time for the mile, whatever it is. You can create your own Webquest, and it should look like this. I have a video that I want you to watch here. It's pretty interesting. It won't take you very long. It's only 2 minutes and 13 seconds. You can handle that, right? Okay. Then there's some more information. If you feel really tangled up, you can read some of these additional ones. But other than that, page 127 of your textbook is more than enough to really explain what this is about. The assignment 6, which I mentioned to you, is a simple Webquest about Webquests. Here's the link to it. If you want to walk through, I updated this. Sorry, it's just not showing yet. But a basic description here in this little activity pane. But you can choose your area. If you're going to teach elementary, middle school, or high school, select one of those that represents what you want to do. It's a Word document. Why is it a Word document? Because I want you to be able to write some details in there. You can click on one of these Webquests. It'll bring it up eventually. You write the title in right here. Okay? You write some of the strengths, some of the weaknesses. And by the way, these can go on forever. You can expand these boxes. They'll move down. Do some of that cool stuff. Now, let's take a look at that. I think it opened for us. We've got to go take a look. Maybe it didn't. We'll try Creative Encounters and see if we can get that one to work. Boy, I've just tangled this whole thing up, haven't I? All right, I'm just going to go to the mouse. Oh, I did break it. There we go. There we go. So this is an example of a web quest. Look at the components. They're always the same. This is what Bernie Dodge gave us. Introduction, task, process, evaluation, conclusion, teacher's page. Okay? Sometimes that's additional instructions. You don't have to do a teacher's page. I just want introduction, task, process, evaluation, conclusion. Let's see what this is like. The year 2073 AD, and the President of the United Nations has drafted you, because of your famous mathematical brain, to join a team of mathematical consultants to travel to Zonatia, a recently discovered planet in a neighboring galaxy. Right? So the introduction sets kind of a framework for this. Usually it's a fantasy framework. Doesn't actually exist, but it places them in a role-play environment. It's an engagement piece. The next element of this is a task, right? Here's what you need to do. What does the number system, why does the number system have place value? How does place value work? Well, and here it tells you what to do. Do this first. Prepare for your mission. Become a team. Share your knowledge with the new group. Create a new number system. Create a base 4 number system, right? All of these things are part of the task. This is what you do. The introduction sets up the scene. The task is what you do. Now the process is where the details really happen, right? You've got some specific things that they want you to go out and look at. Well, there are lots of different counting methods, aren't there? African, Egyptian, Babylonian, Mayan numbering systems. Beyond those that we already know. So you're pointing them directly to the places they need to go to find the information that you want them to do. You frame that for them. That's what's beautiful about a web quest. Evaluation, you tell them what you want them to get out of it. This is where you would create a rubric. This is part of it, by the way. And the conclusion wraps it up. Throughout this web quest, you've explored the number systems and other ways of counting that have created your own base 4 number system. During the research, creation, and presentation process, you've discussed, it wraps this thing back together. You have an introduction and a conclusion that frame the whole thing, and then the process, tasks, and evaluation are all there in the middle. Now, a teacher's page might be helpful to you if you're going to hand this off to other people, but it doesn't have to be a multiple-page website like this. It can simply exist on one Google document or Word piece. Again, give them something simple. This does not need to be a complex week-long lesson. This can be a simple web quest to determine 3 factors about good nutrition considerations for fruit, right? Determine what are the best fruits for hydration, and go to this site. It talks about, water volume in oranges versus apples or bananas, right? You know what I'm talking about? Okay. So those are some of the pieces that you'll want to consider. This is an example of a full web quest right here. You could be president. Look how short the introduction is. The task, the process, and the resources. Right? Just organize it. That's all it does. It's an advanced organizer for what you want to do. Add some images, make it cool. But in essence, that's all you're going to be asked to do. I'll recap this real quick. Take a look at those web quests and evaluate them. You only have to do 3 on any one of those pages. Send that in, turn it into the Assignment 6 collector. The second piece is create a web quest of your very own, in your own subject area, something that you're interested in. It literally will take you an hour, maybe an hour and a half, if you're going slow. So, if you need help, email me, call me, I'm happy to do it. Saturday, if you run into some major problems, also call me, and we'll figure something out. Okay?